What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on? Unapologetic talk. You got myself, Graham Mayan, with my co-host Chucky Atkins. What's going on, bro?
What's up with you, broski?
Before we get started, I want you guys to like, subscribe, and share this content with everybody that you know. Cause without y'all, it won't be no us. So help this page grow. You heard me?
Big.
Seeing where things are in the landscape of the trade, what's going on in the NBA right now? Who do you think probably the power rankings? Who you think would be the top, the top teams right now?
Ooh, top teams right now. So let me ask this question: How how current is that? How current is that list?
When I have it on the top power rankings of 2026.
Right.
I'm gonna see what it is for the 26-2027 season. Let's see what they come back with. What do you think though, as far as who you think will be the top team?
Well,
At least let's say the top five teams next year
um,
for
I,
next year.
I right now today, as it
Right today,
stands, it's
as
kind
it
of it's
stands.
kind of tricky because obviously, you know, LeBron is going to land somewhere. So we're speaking right now based on LeBron not landing and being on a team. So you have to put, not in any order. I
Right.
mean,
Okay.
obviously San Antonio has to be up there. Obviously, Oklahoma City is going to be up there again. Um, Philadelphia, I feel, will be up there depending on Embiid being healthy and being available. Um, I would like to say the Boston Celtics would be up there. I would like to say
Okay.
that the Miami.
I can see that.
I think. I think Minnesota could possibly be in there again.
Okay.
Um, but let's break it down into conferences, right?
Okay.
Let's
That
break it
could
down
work.
into conferences. Let's say out of the East, in the East, I'm gonna go with the New York Knicks being there, the Boston Celtics being there, the Philadelphia 76ers being there, the Detroit Pistons being there, depending on whether or not they get Jalen Duran back,
Right.
and the Miami Heat. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Those are the five that I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with the top five in the East, right? And then coming out of the Western Conference, um, I'm gonna go with Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm gonna go with the San Antonio Spurs because they just got a nice little signing with Tobias Harris,
I think he fits them.
right? I'm gonna go. Um, I like what the Lakers are doing. I like what they're putting together. You know what I mean? Everybody was talking bad about it at the very beginning when they gave Austin Reeves 185 million, but I like what they're doing. They went out and got the big fella from Utah. They went out and got some more shooting. Um, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Hachimura, but I think that he'll be a great piece to keep for them because he can do a little bit of everything. Um, it's still going to be some moves to be made out west. Like, you're hearing things about Kevin Durant not being in Houston. And it's also going to depend on what Portland is going to do with Drew Holiday because Drew Holiday is going to be moved someplace. I mean, that's what I'm hearing. I'm not for sure,
I think he will.
right? Um, so I gave you in the West. I gave you Oklahoma City. I gave you the San Antonio Spurs.
You gave me the Nuggets,
I gave you the
Minnesota,
Nuggets. I gave you the Lakers,
Lakers.
right? And
I think you said Houston.
well, I'm trying to figure out what Houston's going to do.
Right, but we're speaking just as of right now, with
Right.
so KD's still there, and Van Vliet will probably be back next year.
Right.
So that's a
Right. And depending on what LeBron do, because if LeBron goes to Golden State, I would put Golden State in the top five.
really you jump
Yeah,
them
I
that
would put
much?
them. I would put them in the top five with with
Okay,
with 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 Curry. With Curry, LeBron, Draymond. They got Kristaps Porzingis. Uh, Jimmy Butler's still on that team. LeBron. So it's kind of premature right now because moves are still going to be made, but those will be my top 10. The five in the East and the five out of the West.
okay, all right. For the East, no particular order. Celtics, I think, is still going to be a contender. Pistons, I think they'll be a contender. Knicks, Philly, and I'm gonna throw a dark horse in there, man. I'm gonna say the Pacers, man.
Okay.
I think they're
Why the
gonna get out
Pacers?
of there.
Why the
Well,
Pacers?
I think Halliburton's gonna be back next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mind you, he's just one person, but I think for what they were missing and what they needed next year, because I mean, I don't want to say they tanked this year, but how they finished this year wasn't the best because they wanted to get some draft picks, and I think they might have been able to do that. I mean, you still got Pascal Siakam over there. He can
Mm-hmm.
play. He's healthy. I think they just picked up Kelly Oubre.
Okay.
He's a decent signing, and of course in the East, Neesmith, Nemhart.
Yep.
So I think they got some decent pieces. Like I said, I'm gonna throw them in a dark horse. I know people probably pick Cleveland up there. As soon as they still got James over there, I'm just not a big fan.
Well, they got to
How?
sign James. They have to sign James right now. They
No, I'm
haven't
sorry. I'm
signed him
sorry.
yet.
I'm talking about Harden.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They haven't signed him yet.
Oh, oh, okay, okay,
Because remember,
okay.
he opted out. He opted out and declined to get a longer term deal. So they have not re-signed him yet.
Yeah, they're smart. I don't think that's something they should do. But that's my personal opinion.
Right.
We'll see. I think they've been sitting out for a while, so I think Indiana's sitting there like, okay, we can get back in this bad boy. But we'll see. West on
Okay.
the West Coast, now that one that's a little iffy. That's tough there because, of course, I think our Spurs cut OKC,
Right.
and that Philly Nuggets would be up there. Timberwolves, man, they made some moves.
Mm-hmm.
And as of now, I think I'm gonna say Houston because Van Vliet will be back again. Barron, they keep what they got. I think Houston could be up there in the West, one of the top five teams.
Okay. That's fair.
But I do think KD's going to. I think he's going to get moved personally. I think he may get moved, but we'll see.
It is predictions with, you know, teams still.
And the
It's,
trades
it's,
going
it's
on and
right
whatnot.
with, a
So
lot-
yeah,
with more trades and stuff like that going on. So we trying to they're trying to put things together. So all of this stuff could change with one move, one chess move with LeBron James, and everything could possibly change. Right.
yeah,
So you know this is the fun part of the year because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know uh, who's going to be injured. We don't know how teams are going to come together. We don't know how guys are going to come back off injuries. Like,
yeah.
there's a lot of things. There's a lot of moving parts right now that we're trying to figure out. So, teams are still putting their rosters together. Like Miami's still putting their roster together. You know, Portland's still trying to figure out what moves they're going to make to either free up salary cap space or move guys around. A guy like Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving can come back and make Dallas a totally different team. With Cooper Flag and Stafford and Klay Thompson and those guys. So it's going to be very very interesting how this thing shapes out. Guys have to stay guys have to stay injury free, and we got new coaching staff, new coaches coming into this thing. It's going to be very very interesting to see how Orlando is. Because Orlando is not far from being in the top five in the East. Hey, you got to remember they had a 3-1 lead in the playoffs
Yeah.
versus the Detroit Pistons. So although we're yelling Detroit, like those guys are going to have something to say. They're going to be a part of the top five picture as well. So you got other teams like Utah looking to make a jump, right? You got teams out west that played extremely well last year that are looking to make that jump to be playoff teams. So this thing is going to be very very interesting. And for me, this has been the funnest off season that we've had in a long time in the NBA. You know
Really?
what I'm saying? Yeah, because
Okay.
we haven't had this much movement of guys that can kind of move the needle,
Yeah,
right?
we've
You
had
got
some big
to
names. We had some big
right,
names moving around for sure.
think about this. This was probably the first year where a guy such as Jaylen Brown, who's the number six, it was number six in MVP voting, to be traded for a guy that wasn't even an All-Star. Like that's a huge move.
Yeah.
Get moved to the team that they lost to in the playoffs,
The year
right?
before.
So like that's odd. So let's see how it play out, man, and let's sit back and enjoy it. As a fan, this should be like really really fun. I think the New York Knicks still have moves to make. Like losing Mitchell Robinson for them was a big piece. That was big. That was big time. Like, although people go, oh he can't make free throws, but the role that he played was extremely important for them to win the championship this year.
Yeah, he's going up to Boston now.
He's in Boston,
So
so
they got to get somebody to back up Cat. They need somebody over there.
Embiid
For
needs a
sure.
backup. So
Since you brought Embiid up, what you think for what they have as of now? What do you think his role should be for next year? Like what should he come in thinking I need to try to get back to my MVP status for next year, or should I just get in where I fit in with my roster because this is pretty much probably Max's team at this point.
I think for Joel Embiid, it's just important for him to be out there and be healthy and be effective, right? Probably, I don't know if he can ever get back to MVP status based on the injuries that he's had. Um, but one thing that I would like for him to do is just be available for those guys, man. Like he's a big part of their team because he can bring something to the table that no one on the other team can defend, right? At 7'2", with the ability to shoot threes and the ability to go down low and dominate the paint, he can bring something to their team. Like in the East, he's the most dominant center that they have over there.
When he plays, that boy's a
When when
he's a
when when when,
piece of
when
work.
he's playing, right? In the West, hey man, you got the Joker, you got Wemby, you got Holmgren and Weinstein, and
Yep.
from Michigan. Then you got marketing over there, so they're big man heavy out west. Whereas in the East, you only have two guys to deal with.
Really
So
work.
if he could just be available for those guys, if he just do that, because the one thing you don't want to do with Joel Embiid is wear him out during the regular season, and then when it's time to go to get down, when the season actually starts for the playoff, he's worn out and he's hurt and banged up and beat up.
Yep.
That's why I said it's important for them to find a really good backup for him so that, maybe you cut his minutes and not play him as much during the regular season.
I think
You know
that's
what
what
I
they're gonna
mean?
have to do. They're gonna have to cut his minutes down.
They could,
I
I
think that's the
mean,
best thing to do.
that may be the best thing for them to do because you're going to need him in order for you to get to where you want to get to. You know, Cleveland could be a dangerous team, but it just depends on What are they going to do um, with James Harden? Are you going to spend a lot of money to get James Harden back when you don't really know
And
what you're going to get? When you don't really know what you're going to get out of him in the playoffs?
yeah,
But they
you've
can
seen
be
that. You've seen that too many times.
right. But they could give any team problems because they got Mobley, and then they got the big boy center that they have. Like they could give anybody problems. Not to mention they got Donovan Mitchell, who's one of the top closers in the East.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true. Well, we'll see what they do. I mean, and when I mentioned MB with his MVP, more not really him getting back to that. I mean, as far as him being the focal point of their offense, I think he needs. I think it'd be good for that Maxi 1, Brown 2. I think if he can average about a good 15 to 16, 17 points a game for them, 10 rebounds, that's good. But I think what you said too, cut his minutes in half. I wouldn't want to maybe even have him only play about 50 games.
Well, I know. Again, when you got young guards like VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey, and then you make a trade for probably the best two-way player at the guard position. Them three guys gonna run rampant, and they're gonna be extremely hard to stop.
They
Right?
going.
So there's gonna be times where they may be a little tired, they may be a little exhausted, where they're gonna need to slow this game down, and we need to feed the big fella and get him involved. Because if you don't keep him involved and keep him, active, engaged, you could lose him. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that's one of the things that I was speaking to you about the other day about how important Tyrese Maxey's job is going to be. He likes to score that ball, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this year more than ever, because you just brought in a guy like a Jalen Brown,
Yeah.
right? You're gonna have to keep Embiid engaged, and you also have to do a better job of keeping VJ Edgecombe engaged because VJ Edgecombe looked like a total different player when Embiid's not playing. When it's just him and Tyrese Maxey out there, he's
They
looking like
they,
an
they
all star,
going. They
right?
going.
But
They moving.
then when you bring Embiid back, right? When you bring Embiid back, VJ Edgecombe he doesn't play the same. He kind of falls by the wayside a little bit because it's almost like he's the odd man out. And I think a lot of times that comes from Tyrese Maxey not really being that pure point guard to where, okay, hey man, I got to make sure I keep VJ Edgecombe engaged. I got to make sure I keep Embiid engaged as well as continue to do my thing. So he has to do a better job of managing those guys and making sure they stay engaged. And if they can do that and they can stay healthy, I think Anthony Simons is a huge pickup for them. The Boston Celtics missed Anthony Simons last year. They traded him a little too early, too prematurely last year in the season because last year in the playoffs, uh, when Jason Tatum didn't play, they could have used him to step up. He's been in big games. He can score the ball at a high clip. He's not necessarily a 20-point a night scorer, but he's your wild card that can possibly get going in any game and win you a game. So Philadelphia picking him up was a huge thing, and I think that him being around Jalen Brown can help him become a better defender and give him some more confidence.
Yeah, yeah, and that'd be coming off the bench. Yeah, that's a good pickup.
Right.
Coming off that bench, get some scoring, some defense.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I could agree for sure. That's good. That's good. So, what are your thoughts on the teams that they're saying LeBron may go to? So right now, Rich Paul gave a list of 10 teams, but the top 5 teams
Mm-hmm.
were Miami, Cleveland, Timberwolves, Philly, and the Nuggets.
Mm.
I personally feel get out the West, bro. The West is that's a juggernaut over there, man. Get out the if you're trying to get back to that position, go to the East. So you're really talking about Philly and Miami. And if I had to pick the two, it's tough, man, because I know he knows there's somewhat the structure in Miami, but man, I think I will go to Philly rather than Miami. I think they have a better surrounding cast that LeBron could help
Okay.
out then if he goes to Miami. Because Bam,
Um.
he's about 15 feet away from the basket. Okay, cool. And, Giannis not too much of a shooter
Right.
down there. I think Philly would be the better one.
Um. Honestly, it all depends on at this juncture, man. It depends on where LeBron really wants to be. Because I've read something, I've heard something where he said he wants to play meaningful basketball and he just wants to be happy. It's hard, bro. It's going to be extremely hard for me to see LeBron James in a Philadelphia 76ers jersey. Like that would be bananas, bro. Like we've seen him in Miami before.
Right.
We've seen him in Cleveland before. So
Yeah.
that's not going to be hard for us to imagine. But for us to see him in a Golden State Warriors uniform or Philadelphia 76ers uniform right now at this juncture of his career is going to be insane. But, for me personally, I would like to see him play in Golden State just for the mere fact of him being able to play with another superstar, him being able to play with another guy who could possibly be the face of the NBA and not have to work so hard, and to see if they can. The challenge of them two guys trying to get it done together, along with Draymond and the rest of those guys, would be intriguing and worth watching every night. Versus him going to like a Philadelphia to where the team is already made and they already have a great team, and because you know if you go to Philly, it's like, oh, Philadelphia 76ers, they for sure they're gonna win it and this, that, and the other. And then if they don't win it, it's gonna be like, well, we told y'all he was overrated and this, that, and the other. And he go to Philadelphia, he keep going to these super teams and they lose. I would rather see him go to Golden State, play with Steph, see if they can figure it out, accept the challenge, and then if they happen to win it, because everybody's gonna say, well, these guys, they the Olden State Warriors. They not Golden State, they the Olden State Warriors,
They
right?
definitely
And
be
if they
old for sure.
and then if they win it, and then if he wins it there, then it's gonna be even more intriguing when people start talking about who's the GOAT. Because he winning in Golden State, that'll make up for a lot of stuff that may have happened in the past.
See, my thing is, I like that for good TV. I'm just looking at the competition they're gonna have to go against the Spurs and OKC and the Nuggets, and
Well, damn.
I hear what you say. Yes, it'll be a good story, but
Right.
going through them teams in the West,
Well,
I
guess
think
what?
that's.
In order for him to win it, he gonna have to go through one of them teams in the West.
But I'd rather go through them one series than you start off with OKC, or I'd rather.
Hey, the man said he wanted to play meaningful basketball. It can't get no meaningful than being out west with those guys.
Every game would definitely be something to watch. I tell you that much.
Right. It definitely, yeah. He said he wanted to play meaningful basketball. There you go.
So those are the teams that they said are looking at. I don't know what's taking them so long over there in Clutch Sports to figure this thing out. But from what Rich said, he's trying to see what moves teams make. I think the problem is they're trying to figure out where he's going so that they can see who else now they need to build around. So
Well,
I think they're both
listen.
waiting on each other.
The one thing about LeBron James is he don't really have to be in no rush because he's going to move the needle wherever he goes, whether they're a playoff team and are playing meaningful basketball or whatever. I mean, he's been the face of the NBA for 23 years or 20 years, 20 plus years. So, that in itself deserves an applause. You feel what I'm saying? So he don't have to be in a rush. If LeBron James decided right now, out of a whim, hey man, I'm going to play for the Vancouver Grizzlies. I mean, not the Vancouver Grizzlies, but the Memphis Grizzlies. They're gonna be on TV.
Every weekend.
You know what I'm saying? So for him, it's more so of, hey man, let me sit back, let me take my time, man. I want to play some golf, and then, hey, y'all tell me what I'm looking at, and then I'll make my decision based on where it is that I want to go. Do I want to move my family out of LA? You know what I'm saying? That's going to be a big piece.
That was the thing that was in my con of I can't see him leaving them over there and he come east. That's the only why I say Golden State too, because That's only a couple of hour flight on to go see his family. His daughter's still in school. I know he ain't gonna want to uproot her again, put him in a different school. So
Right.
I think that's one thing that I'm thinking Golden State could still get him, keep him on the West Coast.
And I keep saying this, and I'm gonna keep saying it. LeBron likes to be in the limelight. So the
Yeah, he knows
longer
right
he
now. All
waits,
keep putting his name out there.
yeah. So every time we mention his name,
Yeah,
hey man, at however old he is, 41, 42, people are still waiting to see what LeBron James is gonna do.
yeah, yeah.
Good for TV, baby.
Well, it definitely is.
Good for TV, baby.
Probably one of the last topic about who you think going into next year player has probably the most pressure on them.
The most pressure.
Yeah, for them to do well, succeed, and then succeed doesn't necessarily have to be win the championship, but that you feel they have a good year next year.
To me, I would say Jason Tatum because they gave away one of the cornerstones of the franchise, a guy who held it down while Tatum was injured,
Yeah,
right? Um, um, and as much as he's probably the chosen son in Boston, at least for sure by the management, like it's a lot of pressure on him to come out there and be the Jason Tatum of old and be able to lead those guys the way Jaylen Brown did last year. So if you ask me, I would say Jason Tatum, number one. I would like to say number two would be probably John Morant.
oh, he getting a new start in life.
He get a new start, right? He's getting a new scenery, a new look on life. Now, can he be the John Morant of old, or is he going to take that baggage with him to Portland and not be? Because think about this. Although we may say a lot of things about the Portland Trailblazers, we cannot forget that they were a playoff team last year,
Yeah,
right? Without Dame Lillard, without John Morant, right? And I'm pretty sure, obviously, they lost Jeremy Grant, but those guys were a playoff team. So how is that going to look if we made a trade for John Morant, who's supposed to be one of the most dynamic point guards in the game, and we didn't even make the playoffs?
yeah. I mean, I hope he can leave all that off the field drama, man, in Memphis. Just leave it there. Start on a new life. Don't bring none of that issues to that team, man. Just leave that alone, bro. You way too talented
Right.
to let stuff like that derail you as a player. Leave
Yep.
that alone, man.
Those are my top two guys that I feel probably has the most pressure on them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that Tatum because if coming in the next year we gave away Brown, who did more with less. Now we've got you, Paul George, and now you're healthy. I mean, you definitely got to have him in the top three, top four.
Right.
He had him in second place. Now there have been changes in other teams, so I know it wouldn't be completely the same competition in the same places, but it can't be fifth, sixth,
Right.
struggling. He's got a lot of pressure, boy. He's got a lot of pressure on him. Well, yeah, we just wanted to have a quick talk, real quick,
Yes, sir.
about the landscape tonight, what's going on in the NBA. So as you
Yes,
said,
sir.
it's my boy Chucky, myself, Graham, I am. And again, you gotta like, share, and pass this on to everybody that you know, because we need y'all to help us grow and give you
Like,
more of this content
comment, and subscribe.
for sure.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
All right, y'all.
We
Catch y'all on
out,
the next one.
my man.
Yep.